The action at the beginning of the movie takes us to Egypt in 1914. A scientist, together with his assistant Billy, tries to decipher an ancient riddle connected with other planets. The man is sure that the awakened evil must appear on Earth about once every 5,000 years. The scientist guesses that there is a weapon against it, but it requires uniting the four elements around a fifth. This is overheard by the priest, and he decides to keep his secret by trying to destroy the researchers. A huge spaceship suddenly descends on the temple. Billy tries to sketch the creatures that fill the room as they approach the murals. Aliens from the Mondashvan race open the passage and take the elemental stones, as well as the very fifth element. The alien overlord promises the priest that, in 300 years, when evil returns, they will bring the weapons to Earth and save it. Billy sees the professor unconscious and decides to take revenge. Because of his weapon, the passage begins to close, and despite the priest's requests, the Lord stays inside, giving him the key. The spaceship leaves Earth and the action shifts to 300 years later. The pilot and crew of the spaceship notice a strange object. At headquarters, President Lindbergh is ready to eliminate the object, but Vito Cornelius steps in for him. The man is convinced that it is evil, and trying to eliminate it will only make things worse. The president does give the order to launch an attack. However, in anticipation of it, the object, as a sentient being, creates a protective layer. The attacks, as Vito anticipated, make things worse and increase the object size. The general doesn't get away in time and is consumed by evil. Corbin Dallas, who lives in South Brooklyn, wakes up from a nightmare. The hero talks to a friend about the woman who betrayed him and says that he needs someone perfect. In addition, the former major now works as an ordinary cab driver. An unknown man with a powerful weapon tries to attack Corbin, but the man copes with him with the help of speed and wit. The hero gets into a car with built-in artificial intelligence and heads to work. Meanwhile, Vito explains that in 48 hours, evil will reach Earth and destroy life. The man talks about the four elements united around a fifth element. This is what creates a powerful weapon that drives out evil. The president agrees to a visit by a Mondashvan with a salvage cargo. However, the ship is unexpectedly attacked by the Mangalores. They provoke a collision and Vito informs them that they are now doomed. The Mangalores send a message to their customer, Jean-Baptiste Sorg, that the mission has been completed. The president receives information that after the tragedy, only one creature survived, which is difficult to identify. Instead of 40 chromosomes, it has about 200,000. With the help of a special apparatus, the creature is transformed into something humanoid. The resulting creature is frightened of the closed room and is characterized by unusual beauty. Lilu manages to break the impenetrable glass and then tries to leave the laboratory. The girl realizes that she is on the edge of a huge building, but instead of surrendering to the police, jumps down. Coincidentally, Lilu falls on Corbin's car. The girl tries to explain everything to the hero, but communicates in a language unknown to him. The police officers circle around Corbin's car, and he realizes that he must give up his guest. However, Lilu asks to help her, having read a phrase on one of the ads. The hero still agrees, even though he only has one penalty point left. Corbin skillfully maneuvers between buildings, hoping to get away from the chase. The man realizes that the cops are aggressive and decides on a dangerous maneuver, going down to the lowest point of the city. Corbin is waiting out the raid in the fog when a girl asks to be brought to Vito Cornelius. Seeing the tattoo on Lilu's arm, the priest guesses that she is the fifth element. The man realizes that the girl spoke in a divine language. Trying to wake Lilu, Corbin kisses her, but immediately apologizes and asks her to lower her weapon. Vito thanks the hero for his help and asks to leave. Lilu begins to study the history of the Earth for the 5,000 years she has missed. From her, Vito learns that the box of stones needed for the ritual was stolen. While changing clothes, Lilu confesses that she knows where they are now. At the same time, the Mangalores arrive at Zorg's ship with the chest. The man offers them a homing weapon as an exchange. Aknot agrees to give up the crate of stones. Lilu reveals that the stones are actually in the possession of a trusted person and did not arrive on the ship. Zorg realizes that he only got a box without the important stuff. Lilu tells Vito that the proxy is on the planet Floston in the constellation Angel. A furious Zorg leaves the weapons to the Mangalores, knowing that without an explanation they will take their own lives. Suddenly, there is a knock at Vito's door. The man is informed that Mr. Zorg is expecting him. Vito does not agree to give the villain the location of the stones, as his goals are harmful to all living things. However, Zorg protests, his thirst for destruction giving the strongest a chance to prove themselves by collecting the shards of the old world. General Monroe reports to the president that the stones are in the possession of the Diva Plavalagina. This is overheard by Agent Zorga. Corbin dines at a Chinese restaurant and receives a letter. The owner offers to open it as he is sure it will contain good news. However, in reality, Corbin receives a notice of dismissal from the taxicab. Soon the hero is visited by General Monroe and informs that even despite his resignation, in view of his dedication and loyalty, he is assigned an important task. Corbin must meet with Diva Plavalagina and retrieve the stones. To keep it from looking suspicious, he supposedly wins 2 tickets to the planet Flotsam. Corbin sees Leela outside the door and hides the military. However, it turns out that the girl was used by Vito. He intends to take the tickets to Floston to fulfill his mission to save humanity. Zorg's men fill the house and search for Corbin. The hero manages to hide the other guests and pretend that the guy they want is in another apartment. However, the supposed Corbin is taken by the Mangalores, who decide to take revenge on Zorg, get the stones first, and start blackmailing him. Vito stuns the hero and takes the tickets. The man forges the documents of his assistant, but at the last moment the real Corbin appears in front of the cash register. Vito learns that his plan has failed, but he does not intend to give up. The Mangalores also intend to infiltrate the ship, but the security system recognizes them. Tricky, Zorg's right-hand man, tries to impersonate Corbin, but fails. In all the commotion, Vito manages to sneak aboard the ship while the hero is forced to participate in the Ruby Rhoda show. The spaceship prepares to depart. Zorg learns that his agent didn't get on board, which causes him extreme displeasure. So Tricky loses his life due to his cleverly designed suit. Zorg receives a call from a certain Mr. Ghost, who asks him to hurry up with the delivery of the stones. Meanwhile, Corbin finally arrives on Floston and tries to find Leela in the crowd. The spacecraft staff finds Vito in the ventilation bay. Diva Plavalagina also arrives at the hotel, surrounded by many guards. One of her agents tells Lilu that the stones will be given to her after the concert. Corbin, along with Ruby, finds himself in a hall filled with high-ranking people who appreciate art. One of the waiters on board turns out to be an agent of the Mangalores. Diva Plavalagina appears on the stage. During her performance, Zorg's ship docks to the hotel. The Mangalores break into the Diva's room and look for stones. Lilu, hiding in the corridor, remembers that it was they who destroyed her friend's ship. Driven by a thirst for revenge and justice, the girl enters the room and attacks the enemies. Despite the quantitative superiority, Lilu manages to cope with the Mangalores. The girl wants to take the chest, but Zorg appears in the doorway with a new machine gun. Lilu throws the box to him and hides in the vent. Meanwhile, the Mangalores take control of the ship. After that, riots begin in the concert hall itself. One of the attacks injures Diva, and she is immediately picked up by Corbin. Zorg, guessing that the Mangalores have infiltrated the ship, mines the room. Ruby relays information about the attack to the president. The Diva asks the hero to give the stones to Lilu, as well as to take care of the girl who has not yet learned the essence of the cruel world. Meanwhile, the wounded Lilu herself is crying in the ventilation hatch and asking for help. Zorg takes the box of stones to his ship. The Diva admits that the stones are in herself. Corbin orders Ruby to hold one of the Mangalores at gunpoint, while he himself plunges his hands into Plavalagina's wound and pulls out the elemental symbols. The hero gives his partner the stones and heads down the hall to battle the Mangalores. General Monroe swears to the president that Corbin will be able to work things out. With the help of Ruby and another ruse, the hero gets out of the dangerous situation and takes possession of the weapons. Hiding under a pool table, the men sneak from one end of the room to the other. Meanwhile, Zorg returns to the ship for the stones, hoping that this time he will be able to accomplish his task. Ruby and Corbin make their way to the command deck house. The Mangalores are holding hostages and demand to negotiate. The hero enters the room to the opponents and, instead of compromise, destroys the gang leader. After freeing the ship, Corbin discovers Leela in Plavalagina's apartments. Ruby and Vito find a timer on the door and realize they need to evacuate immediately. With less than a minute to go before disaster strikes, Corbin takes off in an evacuation plane and Zorg arrives to retrieve the stones. The villain manages to disarm his device, but it turns out that the Mangalores have also decided to destroy the ship and at the same time their enemy. General Monroe reports that all 5 elements are aboard Corbin's ship. Leeloo talks to the hero and tells him that she is disappointed in humans, in their desire for destruction. The president informs Corbin that evil itself will descend upon Earth in less than 2 hours. Meanwhile, Leeloo continues to explore the darker sides of human nature, which hurts her. The ship arrives at an Egyptian temple and Vito puts the elements in place. Corbin tries to find out from the girl how to open the stones, but she is in a semi-conscious state. The hero soon guesses that each stone is opened by exposing it to its element. There are about 40 seconds left before the world dies. Leeloo doesn't understand why she needs to save the Earth and the people who are already constantly destroying everything. Corbin tries to convince the girl that there is love, the thing for which any worlds must exist. The hero confesses his love to Leeloo. The weapon works, evil is destroyed, and another moon-like satellite appears in orbit. The president wants to visit Corbin and Leeloo in the laboratory. However, the general, looking into the capsule, asks him to wait a few minutes. This is the end of the movie. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this movie, and see you in new videos.